is I talked to some people who were like on dating apps, right? So especially more recently, past 3 years, 4 years, a lot of my patients are using dating apps. And I sort of talked to them a little bit about, okay, like what's the psychology of like, help me understand why you're using a dating app. What are you looking for? And here's the way that they explain it to me. So I want to be in a long-term relationship. A long-term relationship, let's say 30 years, 40 years, I want to get married, I want to have kids, I want to go roll together, all that good stuff. Have someone in my corner. And so I kind of asked them, okay, so what determines whether you're in a long-term relationship or not? And they essentially get to, well, whether I'm happy or not, right? Because if I'm unhappy in a relationship, I'm going to leave. And if I'm happy in a relationship, I'm going to stay. And so the happier I am in the relationship, the more likely I am to stay in a relationship for 30 years. And so their goal, they were sort of equating happiness in a relationship with like long-term committal. Makes sense. So then the interesting thing is that I'd ask them, okay, so like what determines whether you're happy in a relationship? And that's when they'd sort of essentially say, well, it depends on whether I get what I want. And this is where the selectivity comes in. So essentially what's happening is you have people sort of like thinking, okay, if I get A, B, C, D, and E, if I check these 5 boxes, or if my partner checks these 5 boxes, then I will be happy in a relationship. If I'm happy in a relationship, then the relationship will last. And that's how I'm going to find a long-term relationship. And so I realized that the major mistake that people seem to be making now is that they think that happiness in a relationship is something that is found instead of something that is built. So if I'm unhappy in the relationship, and this is what we sort of see with online dating, is that like, okay, if I'm unhappy with this person, instead of working on that relationship and trying to get that person to change, or even shockingly change myself, what I'm going to do is just look for someone who checks all the boxes. So since I have 1,000 different people that I can examine over here and see if any of those are better fits, I'm not going to invest in working on this relationship, working on myself, or trying to encourage this other person to grow and change. And so this is what is crazy, is that when I talk to people who are in successful relationships, a huge part of that is actually like them working on themselves. So it's like learning to be flexible when you don't get what you want, right? So can I be happy in spite of getting what I want?